Half an hour after my girlfriend betrayed me, I booked a hotel room, and sent the room number to her best friend. The instant the door opened, Fu Qinghuan threw her arms around me. A moment later, I shut my eyes. Since Jiang Jiang cheated first, I was only giving her a taste of her own medicine, but I still kept one card hidden. I chose Fu Qinghuan, the one woman Jiang Jiang could never afford to offend. The second time Fu Qinghuan appeared before me, she said, "If you do not mind, we can try being long-term partners." My first instinct was to refuse, but before we even finished negotiating, Jiang Jiang's message came in. "Not answering my calls, are you? I am waiting outside your apartment gate. If you have the guts, do not come back. Otherwise, I have plenty of ways to make you regret breaking up with me. Don't think that just because you are with Fu Qinghuan, she'll actually take you seriously. Miss Fu, would you like to come over to my place?" As we entered my home, the woman asked, unable to hide her delight. "Why did you change your mind?" I could not exactly tell her it was to get rid of a nuisance, and to lean on her power. "Does Miss Fu want the truth, or a lie?" Fu Qinghuan did not expect me to say that. She grabbed my collar, and pulled me close to her. Just then, the phone on the entryway cabinet rang. Neither of us intended to touch it, but the person on the other end seemed relentless. My brow furrowed. I already knew who it was. Ridiculous. No one stops at a time like this. They just will not stop. Fu Qinghuan, looking annoyed, reached out her arm, and pressed the answer button. "Oh, so you finally know how to answer the phone. You actually dared to take Fu Qinghuan up there. What are you doing? What do you plan to do after staying there so long? Let me tell you. Without me, you will not be able to move an inch in the company." There was no need for the speakerphone. In the already silent room, her voice was full of malice and warnings. "Whether I get promoted or not depends on myself." But she truly had the power to make my life a living hell at work. Who told me not to have a powerful father? Fu Qinghuan pinched my cheek, looking at me with a half-smile. Her red lips curled slightly. One look from her, and I realized she had seen right through my little scheme. "Focus, HN." The other end of the phone exploded instantly. Sitting in the car, the moment Jiang Jiang heard that cold voice, she hung up in terror. Hilarious. She does not even have the guts to confront Fu Qinghuan. She starts it. I finish it. Adults pay for their own choices. There's nothing to regret. When Fu Qinghuan came out of the bathroom, her long hair was still dripping. "How does it feel to use me?" I did not say a word. "I will give you 1 week to think about it. I hope I get a satisfactory answer." In the time that followed, I completely forgot about Fu Qinghuan's words. It was just a game to begin with. Besides, I never intended for anything to happen with her. More importantly, I had no time to worry about such things. All my time was spent contacting clients. The anniversary celebrations for several companies were scheduled at the Halloween hotel. If I could handle it well on my own, the position of administrative manager would definitely be mine. At this very moment, I was standing in the corridor of the Imperial Club's private rooms. After taking a deep breath, I knocked on the door with a smile. Entering the room, the atmosphere inside was already electric. The table was covered with all kinds of liquor, and surrounded by many male and female hosts. "Oh, is not this Jiang Jiang's boyfriend? I thought he was a new male host. I should have known that Mr. Hao, who had been avoiding me, wouldn't suddenly release information. It turns out Jiang Jiang was waiting for me here." Jiang Jiang's boyfriend. His physique is actually quite impressive. Someone who can only get promoted by pleasing me. In what world is he my boyfriend? Jiang Jiang's arrogant voice rang out from the corner of the room, and I saw her sitting next to a man. This was the first time I would see Jiang Jiang like this. Before this, she always acted so sophisticated and superior in front of me. The moment Jiang Jiang spoke, the atmosphere in the room was instantly ignited. Forget it, the handsome guy just does not know any better. "Why do not you come over and apologize to Miss Jiang?" I knew tonight was a trap. But clearly, the situation was not looking good. Jiang Jiang stood up and tapped the marble tabletop. "Come here. Drink all this alcohol. I will give you a chance to kneel and kowtow in apology." The music stopped, killing the once lively atmosphere of the room. Everyone was staring at me. I noticed bodyguards were already guarding the door. No wonder I was able to walk in so easily. After realizing the situation, I walked straight toward Jiang Jiang. Even for Jiang Jiang, she had to admit to herself that she had invested the most effort in me. You could say I cheated on her so blatantly. If she did not get revenge for this, how could she possibly survive in H City? "If I drink all this, will you let me go?" "Drink first, then we'll talk." People in the room immediately started jeering. I looked at the rows of colorful liquids in the pre-arranged glasses. Drinking them one by one is boring. "Miss Jiang, do not you think? You think by clinging to Fu Qinghuan, she'll actually come for you? Do you know who she is? I treated you so well, yet you dare to cheat on me? You treated me great, indeed." As I spoke, my expression shifted. I smashed the decanter onto the floor, because it happened so suddenly. By the time the bodyguards reacted, I had already pinned Jiang Jiang down. "You are the one cheating, and you have the nerve to blame me? Do you think I am some pushover? I gave you respect, and you threw it away. So what if I cheated on you, without your father? You are absolutely nothing." Jiang Jiang was completely stunned. Screams immediately erupted in the room. Right in the middle of the chaos, the door was kicked wide open. Just as Lu Nyenyen was about to speak, she heard my bold declaration. "Jiang Jiang, this is quite the party. Why did not you invite us to join the fun? With that, the people behind her pinned down the room's bodyguards. Those who were about to help fell silent instantly. Then, someone cleared a spot in the center. Fu Qinghuan walked straight over and sat down. A moment later, she spoke softly. Come here, sit by my side. The guests looked at each other, confused by the tone, not knowing who she was talking to. After putting on a jacket, Jiang Jiang tightened her clothes and glared intensely at me. These days, I wanted to grind Achen's bones to ash. No wonder Achen dared to come alone. It turns out he secretly called Fu Qinghuan. Almost every eye in the room landed on me, wondering in shock. When did this guy get close to Fu Qinghuan? Judging by her tone, their relationship seems far from ordinary. I was just as confused. I did not expect Fu Qinghuan to show up. Fu Qinghuan's eyes met mine. For once, I felt a flicker of embarrassment, not knowing where to look. Do I really have to beg you to come over? Everyone in the room finally caught on. No wonder this man had the guts to run wild on Jiang Jiang's turf. He was relying on Fu Qinghuan all along. They wondered if it was just a whim, or something more. I took a deep breath and walked straight toward Fu Qinghuan. Then, I sat down beside her. How the tables have turned. A moment ago, I was a monkey on display. Now, I am sitting in the seat of honor, looking down on them. Some tried to get on my good side, but looking at the current situation, this was hardly the time for small talk. The moment I sat down, Fu Qinghuan's cool, crisp fragrance wafted over to me. Lu Nianyan glanced at the crowd standing nearby and chuckled. What are you all staring at? Weren't you having a great time just now? Sit down. Jiang Jiang remained standing, stunned. Having lost face in front of everyone, how could she possibly swallow this humiliation? But in this situation, no one cared about Jiang Jiang anymore. The crowd simply read Fu Qinghuan's expression and acted as if Jiang Jiang did not exist. The waiter turned the music back up. Those who wanted to party kept partying. They could not let the mood die, or no one would have a good night. Lu Nianyan's playful gaze landed on me. I knew this man was not simple to actually make Miss Fu come in person. He is quite a player. But why does it look like they're not grateful? Quite bold, are not they? Knowing full well it is a trap, yet they still dare to come alone. Her breath suddenly brushed against my ear. A shiver ran through my entire body. When did she get this close? Fu Qinghuan's act of claiming ownership was no different from announcing to the world, I now belong to her. Jiang Jiang's eyes turned red with anger. Sister Qinghuan, for the sake of one man, you are even throwing away your best friend? Silence fell over the private room once again. It was a total battlefield. I could hear someone whispering, even though Miss Fu usually hangs out with us. But besides Lu Nianyan, no one here today can actually call themselves Miss Fu's best friend. Only a few people in the capital can. Is Jiang Jiang too drunk? How does she dare question Miss Fu like that? Someone signaled Jiang Jiang. Jiang Jiang hesitated for a moment. At this critical moment, if I let Achen off the hook like this, I will never be able to hold my head high among my friends again. No, I cannot back down. Fu Qinghuan did not even glance at Jiang Jiang. Instead, Jiang Jiang's friend stood up. That is enough. Do you really want to offend Fu Qinghuan? Let us go. Jiang Jiang shoved them away. She tried to drag me up. A few people screamed in shock. In the next instant, Fu Qinghuan's well-trained bodyguards stepped forward and dragged Jiang Jiang to the side. Fu Qinghuan. Jiang Jiang screamed, still trying to rush forward, but she could only struggle helplessly in place. I have helped you again. How are you going to repay me? Her gentle voice grazed my earlobe. I met her gaze, my hands clenching into fists. The implication in Fu Qinghuan's words was too strong, but I did not understand why she was helping me so much. Lu Nianyan watched coldly from the side, with no intention of intervening. Seeing that things had escalated, someone stood up and said, Miss Fu, Miss Lu, I have an emergency at my company. I will be leaving first. Seeing no reaction from Fu Qinghuan, they all started getting up to leave. Fu Qinghuan shouted loudly, leaving? None of you are leaving. Everyone froze in their tracks. Fu Qinghuan swirled the red wine in her glass, looking at them nonchalantly as she said, we ordered so much fine wine. It would be a waste not to drink it. Don't you agree? Everyone flattered her. Don't worry, Miss Fu, we'll definitely finish it all. We will not waste a drop, and we'll cover all the expenses for the room. I had no time to care about them right now, because Fu Qinghuan's fingers, with a slight chill, were lingering almost imperceptibly over my body. My gaze fell on her exquisite profile, clearly catching in her eyes that glint of cunning and triumph. Fu Qinghuan whispered in my ear, do you like it? Boom. I felt the string in my mind, called rationality, snap completely. Thank you for helping me. Hearing my reply, Fu Qinghuan smiled even wider. Then, she linked her arm with mine, asking coquettishly, Achen, have you been thinking about me? I remained silent. How would I have time to think about such nonsense? Seeing no reaction from me, she said, I missed you a little. I was stunned by those words, looking at her in surprise. This woman is really something, a perfectly normal sentence, yet she managed to make it sound so flirtatious. Then, I said helplessly, President Fu, I remember the description of you in the financial magazines. Combined with what you just said, I feel like your public persona is collapsing. Fu Qinghuan chuckled. Why would I want that persona? Those reports are all made up. I even find giving interviews a waste of time. Only Nan Chen believes them. Nan Chen is just too cute, the two of them whispered, oblivious to everyone else. In Jiang Jiang's eyes, it was an affair that had long begun. Nan Chen, you filthy man. I will kill you. Just as Jiang Jiang rushed over, Fu Qinghuan saw her coming, and gave her a cold stare, a gaze cold enough to freeze anyone in their tracks. Jiang Jiang instinctively stopped. Then, looking at her, Fu Qinghuan said, "It seems you are taking advantage of my patience, to keep provoking me, are not you? Contact Jiang Bin, tell him to take his daughter home, and make sure she never shows her face before me again." As soon as she spoke, her assistant immediately went to handle it. Now, only the two of us remained in the private room. Then, with a slight curl of her lips, she asked, "Chen, where is your answer?" I did not expect her to ask again. Steadying my nerves, I said, "President Fu, could you answer one question for me?" "Speak." Her gaze lingered on my face, but I could not decipher the depth of her eyes. I knew very well that from the moment I met Fu Qinghuan, she had shown no particular interest in me. Including now. "Miss Fu, do you like me?" Fu Qinghuan let out a soft laugh. "You are overthinking it." My heart sank. Although I had already guessed the answer, hearing her admit it so bluntly still left me with a sense of defeat. But it was for the best. Being clear and honest is far better than someone like Jiang Jiang, who scams people in the name of love. Fu Qinghuan had already withdrawn her hand, as if she were not the one who had just spoken those ambiguous words. I was only guessing. In that case, I must decline President Fu's proposal. Her red lips curled slightly. Such a blunt refusal. May I ask for the reason? Fu Qinghuan was truly intriguing. Sometimes she seemed rude, and at other times, incredibly understanding. I told her, "As you've seen, I have just experienced a betrayal. In this state, I have no intention of starting a new relationship." She replied calmly, "But I was talking about a long-term partner. We do not need to talk about love." I was stunned by her answer. Then, trying to find a way out, I said, "If President Fu feels that being rejected is an embarrassing experience, to show my gratitude for today's help, I can treat you to a meal." "No need, since we cannot reach an agreement. Until I become more interested in you, our relationship ends here. You may leave." After speaking, her gaze no longer lingered on me. The slight interest she once had vanished completely. I could not be so detached and composed, but I was grateful she knew when to stop. Although we were indeed compatible, being with someone like her would never allow for an equal relationship. Even if I wanted to leave later, I would inevitably be labeled. I stood up. Then, "Goodbye, President Fu." Fu Qinghuan did not respond. I turned and left. As it turned out, unless you specifically go looking for someone in this vast city, the chance of encountering Fu Qinghuan is slim to none. For the next half-month, Fu Qinghuan completely vanished from my world. Meanwhile, news of my breakup with Jiang Jiang spread quickly. Miss Jiang's once passionate pursuit of love came to an abrupt end after only 3 months. While I felt a sense of relief, I also noticed changes around me. Unfortunately, my intuition was correct. "You messed up such basic data. How long have you been with this company? I am starting to doubt your professional competence." I received a notification in the middle of the night. The data report I rushed to finish overnight had issues again. Naturally, I could not escape a harsh scolding. "I have noticed Nan Chen has received quite a few complaints lately. Mrs. Cheng, who had a banquet scheduled yesterday, mentioned there was a mistake with the dessert table. As a colleague, I hope you do not let your personal feelings affect the entire administration team. After all, the client's needs are what we should keep in mind." I ignored Mi Yen. Instead, I took the printed report in my hand and placed it on Manager Kai's desk. I do not know why the cloud data was wrong, but just in case, I printed a hard copy. "Please check if there are still any errors." Manager Kai clearly had not expected Nan Chen to have a backup. He flipped through it with a fake air of scrutiny. I watched him and let out a cold sneer. I knew all this harassment lately was nothing more than a reaction to Jiang Jiang and I breaking up, deliberately making things hard for me at work. As for Mrs. Cheng, I personally visited her yesterday with gifts to apologize. Mrs. Cheng has already expressed her forgiveness. Manager Kai paused for a moment, then slammed the report onto the desk. Mi Yan did not expect Nan Chen to pull a move like this. Stepping out of the office, Mi Yan followed behind, fueling the fire. "What's the point of working so hard? Jiang Jiang has already put the word out. Your life is only going to get harder from here." I shot back coldly. "Whether I survive or not depends on my own ability. No need for you to worry. It is not my first day in the corporate world. I will not fall for the same trap twice." "Do you really think I am that stupid?" Seeing me come out, Lin Su quickly handed me a coffee. Watching Mi Yen head to the team leader's office, he rolled his eyes and said, "She got in through the back door. Yet she has the nerve to brag about relying on Jiang Jiang." I let out a short laugh and comforted him. "Forget it. Why bother arguing with her? There are plenty of people like that in the workplace." Lin Su dragged his chair over and started complaining. "Why is Jiang Jiang acting like a mad dog? Breakups are perfectly normal. The planning department is acting so arrogant now. They keep looking for trouble with us, claiming we are not cooperating with their proposals. With Jiang Jiang as their backer, they're all strutting around like peacocks." I cannot exactly talk about my messy history with Jiang Jiang. Seeing him glued to his phone. "What are you looking at?" "Oh, Today's headline. It says Fu Qinghuan might have a boyfriend, and he is a famous model. Lin Su replied casually. My hand paused. Then I put on my glasses and opened the document on my screen, checking the upcoming schedule and team meetings. Lin Su patted my shoulder. Did you meet Fu Qinghuan when you went out with Jiang Jiang? Is she really as beautiful as she looks in the photos? I was stunned for a moment. Then I said, I did not actually notice what she looked like. Besides, Jiang Jiang was right there. How could I dare look at anyone else? Otherwise, with Jiang Jiang's spoiled personality, I would not have had a peaceful time. That is true. Oh, right. Don't forget the department party tomorrow night. Now that the news of your breakup with Jiang Jiang is out, Mi Yan and manager Kai have some opinions about you. They might use the opportunity to make things difficult. Just be a bit sharp when you are dealing with them. If it gets too bad, just make a run for it. My head started to ache just thinking about it. Okay, thanks for the warning. I will be prepared. The party was set at a newly opened club, so Lin Su kept complaining to me in the car, wondering why we could not just go home and rest at night, instead of spending our own money to treat the bosses. Mi Yan will definitely be pouring drinks, kissing up to the bosses. It is honestly sickening. I parked the car, and patted his shoulder, comforting him. Alright, enough. If those words of yours were posted on the company forum, you'd be criticized for lacking team spirit and promoting individualism. The bosses would definitely come after you. How annoying. So annoying. And we still have to watch their little act. Lin Su got out of the car, grumbling, only to see Mi Yan bowing and scraping to manager Kai. I thought to myself, although Mi Yan is incredibly annoying, if she can bow down to someone like manager Kai, there's nothing she would not do. I got out of the car, sighed and said to Lin Su, let us just go in. Otherwise, being late will affect everyone. Lin Su nodded, and quickly walked in with me. Mi Yan saw us approaching, and said, I thought you were stuck in traffic again. Since everyone's here, let us go. Then, with a sweet smile, she said to manager Kai, that song you sang last time, you absolutely must perform it as the finale tonight. I haven't had enough of it yet. That was some top-tier flattery, which made manager Kai very happy. Beaming with joy, he led Mi Yan through the door first. Meanwhile, on the other side, Miss Fu, Miss Lu, the waiter greeted them politely, proactively opening the door and guiding them. Who else could it be but Fu Qinghuan? I instinctively looked away. Is this still the Fu Qinghuan I knew? I still remember how close and familiar she used to be with me. It is a world apart from the distant way she is now. Mr. Nan, we meet again. Lu Nianyan, standing aside, saw me, and actually greeted me. Hearing her speak, her friends behind her all looked my way. Then, in a teasing tone, they asked Lu Nianyan, what's the deal here? Keeping secrets from your girls? Such a handsome guy. Why did not you invite him to join us? Lu Nianyan stole a glance at Fu Qinghuan. Seeing no reaction from her, she tilted her head and replied, don't ask me. I am not the one in charge. As for Fu Qinghuan, hearing their conversation, she did not slow down, and walked straight into the elevator. Nan Chen, come up and hang out if you have time. Lu Nianyan thought to herself, if Ah Chen wants to come up for a bit, he just needs to ask the waiter for the room number. Then, humming a tune, she followed Fu Qinghuan. Meanwhile, seeing Lu Nianyan chatting with me, my colleagues were quite surprised. Then, they asked curiously, Nan Chen, do you know Miss Lu? Even manager Kai's expression shifted. Had he known Nan Chen had such connections, he would have handed him a business card just now. Honestly, sigh. Meanwhile, Mi Yan's gaze drifted toward me. You probably met her while you were with Miss Jiang, right? Nan Chen, you really should get out more. You are wasting your talent in our administration department. Lin Su rolled his eyes, and was about to snap back, but I pulled him back, looking at Mi Yan with a faint, mocking smile. I have my boundaries. I do not look for trouble, but I am not afraid of it either. There's no need to argue with you. Hearing this, the man's expression changed. What do you mean, Nan Chen? Didn't you just use your looks to seduce Miss Jiang? What are you acting so arrogant for? If you are so capable, try getting with Lu Nianyan. Do you think someone like Lu Nianyan would even bother with you? Seeing the scene, the colleagues quickly changed the subject. Let us go. I cannot wait to hear manager Kai sing a song. Exactly. Then they pulled Mi Yan away. Just as Fu Qinghuan sat down, she heard Song Shui pressing Lu Nianyan. Is that hottie really not your man? Get lost. If he were really mine, would I not tell you? You would have seen him in the room long ago. I am not an idiot, bringing a gorgeous guy back, just to sit and chat. Am I running a charity here? Thinking of this, Lu Nianyan looked at Fu Qinghuan and asked, what exactly happened? Why did it fall apart that day? I remember someone hearing that Jiang Jiang specifically set up a meeting to deal with her ex. Fu Qinghuan was so anxious she even pushed back business deals, and went straight to the Imperial Hotel. But the result? How did she end up sitting there alone admiring the view? Lu Nianyan became even more curious. Then, Fu Qinghuan's cold voice rang out. Mind your own business. Stop focusing so much on others. Sigh. A woman rejected in love is truly untouchable. One word too many and she snaps. Once inside the room, Mi Yan acted as if he were on his home turf, bustling about everywhere. He had a decent voice, and after flattering Manager Kai for a while, the wrinkles on Manager Kai's face practically bloomed into flowers. Seeing this, Lin Su nudged me with his elbow, signaling me to be careful. Sure enough, Mi Yan approached with a glass of wine. Nan Chen, you managed to handle a client as troublesome as Mrs. Cheng, so everyone in administration should toast you, right? I knew he would pull this stunt. I declined politely. I have to drive later, so I am not drinking tonight. I will use tea instead of wine. Mi Yan raised an eyebrow and said, we're all drinking, just have a little. If you cannot, I will call a designated driver for you. I was sick and tired of Mi Yan's tone. Just as I was about to snap back, the room door opened. A waiter brought in wine and a fruit platter. Someone asked curiously, you've got the wrong table, right? We did not order anything. You have it right. Then, the waiter replied with a smile, these are on Miss Lu, and all the expenses tonight will be covered by Miss Lu. Holy crap, these drinks cost a fortune. Did Nan Chen actually hook up with Miss Lu? Everyone was stunned. Then, all eyes turned to me. Mi Yan's expression turned awkward. No wonder you did not bother to toast the bosses. So, you've got someone backing you up. Glad you noticed. Even Miss Lu would not force Nan Chen to drink. Lin Su finally could not hold it in. Who the hell do you think you are? The waiter set the drinks down and stepped away. But my heart sank. Lu Ninian suddenly pulling a stunt like this. What exactly is she playing at? Logically, my relationship with her is not that close. Could it be Fu Qinghuan? Mi Yan could not hide her embarrassment. She snorted coldly and walked away. What if Nan Chen really did get close to Lu Ninian? Even Jiang Jiang has to suck up to her. If I keep making things hard for Nan Chen, what if he comes after me later? Just as I sat back down, Lin Su asked curiously, what's the deal between you and Lu Ninian? What's the situation? I am not quite sure, but one thing is clear. With Lu Ninian sending drinks tonight, the coming days will not be so miserable. I just do not know how long it'll last. I scanned the room. A few people looked down, feeling guilty. They were the ones who had been tripping me up lately. I was wondering if I should thank Lu Ninian, or if she sent these to lure me to her. Suddenly, I felt a weight beside me. Manager Kai had sat down next to me. Nan Chen, I actually think very highly of you. Hearing this, I politely kept my distance. I still have a lot to learn. Thank you, Manager Kai, for guiding us. Manager Kai looked me up and down. Oh, do not be so formal, please. I just did not expect that you would be so close to Miss Lu. My brow twitched. I knew he did not come with good intentions. I wanted to see what he was actually after. Manager Kai kept swirling the wine in his hand, and spoke slowly. The Lu Group just opened a new resort, and the reviews are glowing. If we can push forward the cooperation with the resort, it would be a huge boost for your career. What a joke. With a project like this, even our boss, VP Gao, might not be able to secure it. So why on earth could I? This old fox has truly lost it. Then, I curled my lips into a slight smile, and stayed silent. Instead, while he was painting a rosy picture for me, I calmly added, if I see Miss Lu next time, I will try to ask her about it. But personally, I am not that close to her. Hearing this, Manager Kai's eyes flickered as he said, actually, there's no need for a next time. Miss Lu is upstairs right now. The smile instantly vanished from my face. So, Manager Kai was testing me on behalf of Jiang Jiang. I can let Lu Ninian fool these people, but I cannot fool Jiang Jiang. Everyone knows Manager Kai was appointed to admin by Jiang Jiang's father. It is just that because the supervisor, Teng Siheng, is away, Manager Kai has started acting like a big shot. With that in mind, I decided to just be blunt. I took the initiative to pour a drink for Manager Kai. Manager Kai was caught off guard by the gesture, and even leaned away from me, as if I were somehow dangerous. Then, I sighed, and said to him, Manager Kai, since you value me so much, I will not hide it from you. To be honest, Miss Lu and I really have nothing to do with each other. As for why she is taking care of me, it is likely because of someone else. After hearing this, Manager Kai asked curiously, is that so? Then who on earth is making her look after you? Fu Qinghuan, of course. I stared into his eyes and said word by word, Lu Ninian is only doing this under Miss Fu's instructions. Manager Kai's hand shook, and half the wine splashed out of the glass. He thought to himself, I have heard Lu Ninian changes partners quickly, but I have never heard of any notable man by Fu Qinghuan's side. Does Nan Chen really have that kind of background? You are not lying to me, are you? Manager Kai quickly realized. He asked me back, but Miss Fu did not even greet you just now. Nan Chen, do you really know Miss Fu? Don't brag too much, or it'll be hard to back down. I picked up my glass and took a sip. I said nonchalantly, we had a little disagreement a couple of days ago. The reason she ignored me today is that she is throwing a bit of a tantrum. She just wants me to coax her. As you know, I haven't been doing great at the company lately, so a little friction is normal. Manager Kai took a sip of wine, rubbing the glass with his hand. He thought to himself, if this is true, then the request from Miss Jiang to fire Nan Chen needs some serious reconsideration. After all, Nan Chen is backed by Miss Fu now. It'll be so much easier for the admin department to get things done. Manager Kai, excuse me, I will be stepping away for a moment. Seeing that he stopped pressuring me to drink, I used it as an excuse to head to the restroom to breathe. Water from the sink flowed over my fingertips. I looked up and saw Mi Yan following me. I knew exactly what was happening. He'd been humiliated by me twice tonight. He was definitely looking for a chance to get revenge. Sure enough, speak of the devil. Then, I heard Mi Yan's voice. You are quite capable, are not you? First Miss Jiang, then Lu Nianyan, playing your way through different women, while pretending to be indifferent to it all. Isn't it exhausting? I pulled a paper towel, wiping the water off my hands. Then, I looked at Mi Yan as he continued to mock me. Nan Chen, I want to see how long you can keep up this act. I let out a cold laugh, then spoke slowly and deliberately. Mi Yan, everything has its limits. The one who starts the trouble is the one who was rude first. Hearing this, Mi Yan's face turned pale with rage. Just as he was about to argue, I continued. Why do you think Manager Kai was so compliant tonight? Because I told him that the person backing me is not Lu Nianyan, but Fu Qinghuan. And, do you really think I am a patient man? I suggest you just worry about yourself. He did not say a word, but gave me a vicious glare, then turned and left. I left the restroom then, only to bump straight into Fu Qinghuan. Fu Qinghuan looked up and saw it was me, giving me a playful, teasing smile. But I was thinking, I am dead. She could not have been here the whole time, could she? If Fu Qinghuan heard what I said, will I even survive until tomorrow? Forget it, apologizing first is the safest bet. So, I took a deep breath, and said to her, Miss Fu, my words just now were a bit offensive. I am sorry, I did not mean it. Fu Qinghuan heard it but did not speak, simply bypassing me and walking forward. I stood there stunned for a moment, then took out my phone and opened my chat with Fu Qinghuan. The last message was still the number 5306. Looking at that message, memories of that day flooded back. I quickly shook my head and started typing. Meanwhile, Fu Qinghuan returned to the private room. The people inside were already partying hard. A rising male star was sitting next to Lu Nianyan. Miss Fu, what took you so long in the restroom? Fu Qinghuan sat down, avoiding the drink the man offered. However, her gaze shifted, scanning across the men in the room. Then, what surfaced in her mind was that night she spent with Nan Chen. Fu Qinghuan sat there quietly, reminiscing. Song Shui and the others were already peeking. Lu Nianyan suddenly threw an arm around Fu Qinghuan. I just went to the restroom to look for you. The waiter said you went to the second floor. There's a restroom right here in the room. It is weird enough that you went outside, Qinghuan, but now you've gone to the second floor. Unless you are meeting someone up there, who would believe it? Fu Qinghuan did not respond, brushing Lu Nianyan's hand away. She only said, I am leaving. Let us catch up another time. Lu Nianyan stood up in surprise and said, Hey, Qinghuan, you are leaving already? It is rare for us to meet. Cannot you stay a bit longer? And at this moment, I was in the hallway, typed and deleted the apology. Finally, I sent 3 words, I am sorry. But Fu Qinghuan had blocked me. The message did not even go through. I stared at that red exclamation mark. I gave a helpless, bitter smile. Sigh. Fu Qinghuan's mind. I really cannot figure her out. After that little scene, the department gathering wrapped up quickly. Colleagues left in small groups. When I felt my phone vibrate, I frowned, worried it was a client. I answered it quickly. Hello? Who is this? But a strange static noise came from the other end. Nan Chen, the matters at the company, we'll settle them slowly. The voice was electronically distorted. Impossible to tell if it was a man or a woman. So, I hung up with a blank expression. What kind of twisted game is Jiang Jiang playing now? It seems something is going to happen tonight. I need to be careful. Everyone had a bit to drink tonight. The group planned to take taxis home. What exactly does Jiang Jiang want? At this point, there's no way I am going back to apologize to her. Hey, is not that Fu Qinghuan's car? The group looked toward the driveway in unison. A black sedan glided smoothly past us. Mi Yan's sneer echoed from behind. Manager Kai's expression was not any better. Lin Su heard Mi Yan's laughter, and found it baffling, so he snapped back. Are you crazy, Mi Yan? What are you freaking out about now? Mi Yan had been feeling suppressed all night. Why am I laughing? I have been waiting for this moment. I am laughing because some people brag so much they might trip over their own tongue. Every word out of their mouth is about knowing Miss Fu. Just think about it. Plenty of people want to know Fu Qinghuan. She has always been cold and distant. Do you think Miss Fu is some kind of philanthropist, that just anyone can get to know her? Just as Lin Su was about to argue, the car following the Bentley stopped in front of them. A woman rolled down the window. It was Fu Qinghuan's assistant, Zhao Qingwei. Mi Yan was instantly speechless. Manager Kai reacted much faster. He rushed to the front immediately and said flatteringly, "Assistant Zhao, long time no see." Zhao Qingwei waved him off. She looked at me and said, "If Mr. Nan has any business needs, you can contact the number on this card." I was stunned for a moment. Then I quickly recovered and asked, "Assistant Zhao, could I request a meeting with Miss Fu, to thank her in person?" Zhao Qingwei nodded and said, "I will ask for you, if Miss Fu has the time." Seeing she did not refuse, I breathed a sigh of relief. "I appreciate it. Safe travels, Assistant Zhao." After the luxury cars drove away, the colleagues fell instantly silent. Lin Su rolled his eyes. He looked at the pale-faced Mi Yan and said, "Some people should really learn to keep their mouths shut. Otherwise, you will not even know who you've offended." I gripped the business card in my hand, thinking to myself, although this is just Zhao Qingwei's personal number, at least it is an olive branch from Fu Qinghuan. This means she is willing to hear my explanation. I have to seize this opportunity. Mi Yan could not stand it anymore. He hailed a car and left immediately. Lin Su stayed with me until everyone else had left. Before getting into his taxi, he did not forget to remind me, "You drove here too. You should call a designated driver. Anything else can wait until tomorrow at the office." I closed the door for him and waved him off. "Forget it. Stop worrying about me. Go home and have some hangover soup. Don't worry. I am a grown man. What's the worst that could happen?" After watching the taxi drive away, I stood there for a while. Just as I was about to wait in my car and call a designated driver, I found a suspicious object left in the passenger seat, clearly a deliberate prank. Then the car door slammed shut with a bang. I locked the doors and planned to head straight to the police station. But halfway there, I felt someone behind me. I forced myself to stay calm, thinking to myself, could it be someone Jiang Jiang hired to get revenge? No, I have to get out of here, fast. Until a pair of headlights flickered on, and someone stepped out of the car. Suddenly, she tapped my arm. I violently shook off her hand and demanded, "What do you want? Who sent you?" Then, I froze, looking at her exquisite face. "Fu Qinghuan, why is she here? What happened? To make you panic like this? There's an unknown object in my passenger seat. I suspect Jiang Jiang sent someone to mess with my car." I was just about to call the police, when I realized someone was following me. So I wanted to get out of here quickly, and lose them. Heh. After hearing what I said, Fu Qinghuan directly ordered the bodyguards following her, "Check his car, then call the police to handle it." "Yes, ma'am." The bodyguards went to carry out the order. I stood there, my mind still replaying the scene. At that moment, Fu Qinghuan opened the car door. "Get in. I will take you back." I did not move, still lost in my own world. After a while, Fu Qinghuan heard nothing from me. She gave me a resentful glare. "What? Going to reject me again? Humph, suit yourself then. I am leaving." "Fine, then I will trouble the great Miss Fu to give me a lift." Just as she was about to leave, she heard my voice. Fu Qinghuan chuckled and said, "Why are you being so obedient today? I thought you'd just reject me." I smiled without saying a word. "Miss Fu, did not you just leave?" After getting in the car, I asked. "You are very concerned about my movements. Why? Do you like me?" At the intersection just now, the car people said drove away turned out to be yours. Ignoring her teasing, I said. Fu Qinghuan was speechless. She gave a light sigh. "I have been here the whole time. Are you really sure that car was mine?" I nodded, pretending not to hear her, and changed the subject. "Thanks for today. Luckily you were here." Fu Qinghuan suddenly lost interest in talking to me. "It is not like I stopped here specifically for you." Her tone turned cold. "No need to thank me over and over." She just felt restless. "I was just zoning out here. I really was not waiting for him on purpose. I do not care at all how he is doing." Hearing Fu Qinghuan say this, I did not know what to say. An awkward silence filled the car. The driver glanced at us several times in the rearview mirror, before finally summoning the courage to ask, "President Fu, are we going home, or?" Fu Qinghuan glanced at the silent me and said, "To Zichuan Mingjun." The car was already quiet. Fu Qinghuan closed her eyes to rest, but I did not relax. My nerves remained taut. I still could not figure it out. Fu Qinghuan, known for being cold and aloof. Why on earth is she so focused on someone like me, who she has only met a few times? Could it be just out of curiosity? Fortunately, it was not far. When we arrived at the residential complex, just as I was about to get out, I instinctively looked at Fu Qinghuan. Noticing my gaze, Fu Qinghuan said, "What are you looking at me for? Get out." "What? Want to spend the night in the car?" I hurriedly got out to wait for her. Just as I was about to say goodbye, Fu Qinghuan had already linked her arm with mine and started walking into the complex. I walked side by side with her. Just as I was about to say something, "You've got some nerve. Do you know who Jiang Jiang is? Haven't you looked into her before?" Fu Qinghuan's voice grew colder, even carrying a hint of resentment. Hearing this, I paused, and decided to explain. Although I am with her now, I really did not know much about her past. Besides, I believe that when two people are together, they should focus on the present and the future, not the past, so I did not pay much attention to those things. Fu Qinghuan stared at me in disbelief. Finally, she just stopped in her tracks and said to me, "Keep talking. That actually sounds quite reasonable." In this moment, it felt like I was reporting to my boss. I watched Fu Qinghuan's expression. Seeing that she remained calm, I continued speaking. Regarding the betrayal, I admit I was overthinking things, but Jiang Jiang lied to me time and time again. I had to protect my own dignity. However, as for you, Miss Fu, I still want to say I am sorry. I shouldn't have, after rejecting you, mentioned our past relationship in front of colleagues, just to make myself feel better. After saying this, my eyes instinctively turned toward Fu Qinghuan. After a long silence, she let out a cold snort and slowly spoke. "Your taste in people is truly terrible." I could tell what she meant. She basically thought I was crazy, preferring to play boring love games with Jiang Jiang, rather than maintaining a relationship with her. But it was precisely because she was so unattainable, that I did not dare to offend her. The two of us walked, one behind the other. When we reached the entrance of my apartment building, just as I was about to open the door, I remembered Fu Qinghuan was still there. I turned to Fu Qinghuan and invited her, trying my best not to sound too suggestive. "Miss Fu, would you like to come up for a bit?" But with a man and a woman alone at the doorstep, it would be rude to just kick her out. Seeing my reaction, Fu Qinghuan chuckled softly, just as she was about to refuse. The next second, Jiang Jiang had been hiding here waiting for me. "A Chen, I beg you. I am begging you. Let us get back together, okay? I will treat you right from now on." I looked in surprise at the agitated woman before me. At that moment, Fu Qinghuan frowned at Jiang Jiang. "Jiang Jiang, this is truly crossing the line. If you dare do this again, do not blame me if I actually send you to the place where you belong." After speaking, she gave a look to the bodyguard beside her. The bodyguard then took Jiang Jiang away, leaving the two of us alone again. Then Fu Qinghuan spoke. "This time, you are coming with me, right? This address is not very safe." I thought she'd have someone drop me at a hotel, but it was not until we entered a high-security community that I realized she was taking me to her home. The entryway lights flickered on, and Fu Qinghuan's domain opened completely to me. Given Fu Qinghuan's status, the entrance and decor were naturally minimalist yet grand, with careful attention to every detail. Even the paintings hanging in the foyer hallway were incredibly tasteful. Fu Qinghuan walked ahead, then turned to tell me, "It is fine, no need to change your shoes." Okay, I followed behind her. The living room was huge, mostly in a modern style. I guessed Fu Qinghuan rarely spent time at home, as there were no signs of anyone actually living there. Seeing her head straight to the second floor, I quickly followed. Fu Qinghuan went to a room at the end of the hallway, then turned back to look at me. "This is your room. Go freshen up. You've had a long day. Get some rest early." Seeing that I did not move, Fu Qinghuan teased, "What's wrong? Not satisfied with the room? Or do you want to sleep in the master bedroom?" Hearing this, my ears turned red. I hurriedly explained, "I did not mean that. I am just worried your boyfriend might mind." Hearing this, Fu Qinghuan asked in confusion, "Who told you I have a boyfriend? Where did you hear that?" Looking at my surprised expression, she did not know what to say for a moment. I felt a bit awkward. Just as I wanted to end the conversation, I heard her voice again. "So, what do you think of Jiang Jiang now? Do you regret being with her?" I was stunned, failing to understand a partner's past when choosing them. I believe that is a very foolish mistake, so, regretting it afterward is only natural. After saying that, Fu Qinghuan did not wait for my reply, and walked straight into the master bedroom. I stood there dazed for a while before it clicked. Wait, was that what she meant? Fu Qinghuan was actually questioning my standards in partners. I am actually quite annoyed, but I have no way to argue back. Sigh. I stood there, lost in thought for a while. Then, I pushed the door open, grabbed my toiletries and headed to the bathroom. My mind was still racing. How on earth should I apologize to her tomorrow? This is so awkward. Forget it. Just forget it. I will deal with tomorrow's problems tomorrow. Right now, my only mission is to get some rest. After all, I have work tomorrow. Meanwhile, in the master bedroom, Fu Qinghuan slipped into her bathrobe, poured herself a glass of red wine. Just then, her phone rang. She answered the call. "Hello? Make it quick." A chaotic noise erupted from the other end. Lu Nianyan asked curiously, "I thought you went home. Why did you bring your Chen back with you?" Fu Qinghuan stood by the window, watching the trees sway in the wind. She said indifferently, "I brought him back because I wanted to. I do not need a reason." Lu Nianyan was stunned by the blunt answer. Then she teased, "Qinghuan, you are such a liar. Tell me the truth. Have you actually fallen for Nan Chen?" After hearing that, Fu Qinghuan replied firmly, "Could I just stand by and watch Nan Chen get crushed by Jiang Jiang?" It was purely a humanitarian gesture. Lu Nianyan let out a cold laugh. "Qinghuan, stop playing dumb with me. You know exactly what I mean." Fu Qinghuan set her glass down. "If feelings could develop after just 2 or 3 days, then your line of suitors would probably stretch from the Lu Corporation gates all the way to a city." Then, she hung up the phone. That cannot be right. Am I overthinking this? But based on Qinghuan's behavior, she clearly cares about that Nan Chen. Hiss, how strange. Truly bizarre. Did I make a huge mistake? I shouldn't have brought Nan Chen here. Now look what happened. Even Lu Nianyan found out. Meanwhile, after I finished freshening up, I lay in the guest room, unable to sleep. Something just felt off. What exactly are Fu Qinghuan's intentions toward me? Did she really bring me back out of the goodness of her heart? The more I thought about it, the more restless I became. Just as I was tossing and turning, I heard footsteps outside the door. I bolted upright. My heart began to race. What is she doing here? It could not be. Nan Chen, are you asleep? I paused for a moment. Then I asked, Miss Fu, is there a reason you are visiting me so late? Not really. Just checking in on you. Get some sleep. With that, I heard Fu Qinghuan's footsteps fading away. And just then, sleep finally claimed me. The next morning, my 7 a.m. alarm woke me up right on time. I got up and freshened up. As I stepped out of the room, I heard voices coming from downstairs. It turned out Fu Qinghuan's special assistant and secretary were both there. Fu Qinghuan was sitting on the sofa, listening to their work reports. As if sensing something, she looked up and glanced in my direction. That is enough for now. Then she told them, go handle it. Keep me updated on any developments. Yes, President Fu. They replied respectfully, and then quietly withdrew. Silence returned to the house once more. Come down once you are ready. There are no outsiders left downstairs. I nodded upon hearing this. I went downstairs and greeted her. Morning, Miss Fu. Let us eat. Breakfast is served. That is when I noticed. A variety of breakfast dishes were laid out on the table. A mix of Eastern and Western cuisine. The spread was incredibly lavish. I remembered how I usually skip breakfast to sleep in. Today, I finally get to have a proper meal. I pulled out a chair, sat down and looked at Fu Qinghuan. I asked curiously, don't you eat breakfast? Aren't you actually hungry? Fu Qinghuan sat on the sofa, replying to messages. I have already eaten. Just help yourself. Also, I suggest that you, if you have nothing to do today, take a day off first, and settle Jiang Jiang's matter at the police station. Of course, Assistant Zhao will be there to assist you. Hearing this, I asked tentatively, if Jiang Jiang is to be dealt with, how will she be punished? The specifics depend on how the officers handle it, and how you describe the events. After all, this could be a minor or a major issue. I knew it would not take long, but what I am still worried about is whether Jiang Jiang will become even more crazed afterward. Thinking of this, I sighed. Don't worry, investigations do not yield results that quickly. At least she will not bother you for a while. Just the internal disputes in Jiang Jiang's family, and the issues involving Jiang Jiang herself, from years ago, will be more than enough to keep them occupied. I know Fu Qinghuan's way of doing things, and knew I could relax for now. Then, I heard her change the subject. What do you want for lunch? I will have the chef prepare it for you. It clicked. She meant we were having lunch together. Then I thought, if I refuse, does that mean regarding Jiang Jiang's matter, Fu Qinghuan will stop intervening? After hesitating, I finally spoke up and asked, Miss Fu, can I understand this as, because you enjoy my company, that you care for me deeply, and are solving my problems? Hearing this, Fu Qinghuan replied in a detached tone, and if I do, so what? If I recall correctly, it was always you who approached me. Indeed, that was the case, because we are on equal footing in this regard. Of course, it would be best if from now on, we do not interfere too much in each other's lives. Just call to arrange a time when needed, or perhaps meet at a fixed time. What do you think? Fu Qinghuan heard my request, and was somewhat surprised. Then she remained silent for a moment, and asked curiously, do you even refuse the gifts I give you? I knew she would react this way. I knew associating with Fu Qinghuan could bring much help and access to higher social circles, but I do not want to bet my entire future on someone else. Let us maintain a relationship of mutual respect. As ordinary friends without strings attached. Contact each other only when necessary. No need for material ties. It'll be cleaner when we eventually part ways. Yes, then I spoke. If President Fu wishes to continue this relationship, I hope basic gifts can be avoided. It would be a hassle to settle later if we part. I understand. Fu Qinghuan nodded, and replied indifferently, this is for the best. It is more convenient for everyone. Then she stood up, ignoring my reaction, and walked straight out. When Zhao Qingwei entered, I was just about to pack up and follow her. Seeing my movement, she reminded me, Mr. Nan, your house is still under inspection. Hearing this, I put my things down, raised an eyebrow and asked, Assistant Zhao, is this Miss Fu's intention? Zhao Qingwei smiled without speaking. I understood instantly. Then I set my things down and said, let us go then. The sooner it is done, the sooner I will have peace of mind. Since Fu Qinghuan did not kick me out immediately, she has accepted my proposal. Now that we have an agreement, there's no need to be overly polite. The car was already waiting at the door. The neighborhood scenery is better in daylight. After I got in the car, Zhao Qingwei handed me a document. This is Miss Zhang's statement from last night. The case is primarily about stalking and intimidation. You do not need to worry about other things. We will handle it. I looked at Jiang Jiang's statement, claiming it was just a prank between a couple, and let out a cold sneer, saying, I do not accept a private settlement. I am sticking to my original decision. President Fu said the same, and will help you find a lawyer to resolve this. I raised an eyebrow, thinking to myself, I really should thank Fu Qinghuan for this. She did not have to get involved in this mess, yet she stepped in just to help me. Then I nodded. I really do need to thank President Fu. Thanks for your hard work too, Assistant Zhao. Zhao Qingwei sat beside me without saying a word. Only when we were near the police station did she remind me. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang came last night. They were rather emotional. I suggest you avoid confronting them head-on. Hearing that, I suddenly remembered when Jiang Jiang was still with me. Once, while we were shopping, we happened to run into her parents. I could not remember exactly what happened, but their condescending attitude was something I never forgot. I would not start a fight anyway. Thinking of this, I complained inwardly, but I could not say the same for Jiang Jiang's parents. After all, parents who raised someone like Jiang Jiang could not be easy to deal with. Just as Zhao Qingwei and I stepped into the police station, a woman's sharp voice reached my ears. So you are the petty man who reported my daughter, huh? I turned my head. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang were glaring at me with displeased faces. The woman even tried to rush over and teach me a lesson physically. Zhao Qingwei's face turned pale. She was just about to stop her, but I looked at them expressionlessly, and said with a sneer, "What, are you planning to hit me too? At least try to be reasonable. I am a victim too. Why cannot I defend my own rights?" Mrs. Jiang pointed at me, and snapped furiously, "Stop putting on an act here. A grown man, yet so petty. What did my daughter ever do to you? Mrs. Jiang, instead of pestering me here, why not think about what your daughter actually did? If she had not hurt me, I would not even have a reason to make things hard for her." Mrs. Jiang was so angry she could not say a word. Mr. Jiang patted her on the back to calm her down. Then Mr. Jiang looked at me and shot back. "Mr. Nan, are you really that noble? Aren't you just doing this for compensation? Dragging our Jiang Jiang here? Jiang Jiang is our child. She has always been well-behaved since she was little. If people like you had not led her astray, how would she have ended up like this?" I was tired of this pointless conversation. I looked directly at the staff beside me and said, "You heard them. They are personally attacking me. I refuse to settle this privately with the Jiang family, and I will not accept mediation. I only trust what the law decides. Whatever the law says, that is how it will be handled." Mrs. Jiang's expression changed. "Why are you so stubborn? If they want to talk, let them talk. Words will not take a piece of flesh off me. As long as everything is handled properly, everything else does not matter." Meanwhile, on the other side, when Lu Nianyan entered Fu Qinghuan's office, Zhao Qingwei's voice message was still playing on her phone. Hearing the noise, Fu Qinghuan paused the voice message, looked up at her, and asked, "Are you really this free now? Why do you keep running to my office every day? What? Is your own office uncomfortable? You think I wanted to come?" Lu Nianyan stared at Fu Qinghuan resentfully, and said in an aggrieved tone, "Qinghuan, you made such a big move. Quite a few people have come to me asking what we are supposed to do. If the project we invested in before falls through because of Jiang Jiang, we cannot just shelve it like that. So I came to ask you." Fu Qinghuan took a sip of coffee, ignoring the question about the project. She only said casually, "If someone does something wrong, they should pay the price. Does that really need to be explained? As for everything else, we will talk about it when the time comes. Why is everyone in such a hurry?" Hearing this, Lu Nianyan lifted her eyebrows slightly, sat down on the sofa, and replied, "Then it looks like Miss Jiang is going to have a rough time." Lu Nianyan naturally was not pleading for Jiang Jiang. She was only making a remark. "Hey, Qinghuan." She quickly changed the subject. "Song Shui is throwing her boyfriend a birthday party later. Are you going?" Fu Qinghuan estimated that I should be coming out of the police station soon, so she declined politely. "I already have plans. You all go ahead." After finishing the statement, Zhao Qingwei walked out of the police station with me, and said to me, "Mr. Nan, if there is nothing else, I need to head back to the company." Zhao Qingwei glanced at her watch. Clearly, she was in a hurry to handle some business. "Don't worry about me." I could tell what she was thinking. Then I said, "You should leave with the driver. You are quite busy too. Don't let me hold up your work." Zhao Qingwei was stunned by my answer. Then, she let out a light chuckle. "Then I will be heading off first. Mr. Nan, don't forget your lunch with President Fu." I had actually forgotten about it. I said gratefully, "Assistant Zhao, thank you. Thanks for reminding me." Now that Jiang Jiang's situation has been sorted out, I do not need to worry about my personal safety. But just in case, Zhao Qingwei still left 2 bodyguards to protect me. I walked leisurely down the street, thinking to myself, since I have already taken the morning off, there's no rush to get back to work. I do not know if he heard some news, but even Manager Kai was unusually easygoing today. He agreed to my leave immediately, even saying there was no rush, and that I could return once everything was handled. So, I should use this time to think carefully about how exactly I should thank Fu Qinghuan. Meanwhile, Zhao Qingwei immediately contacted Fu Qinghuan. "President Fu, everything has been handled, and I have already booked a restaurant for lunch. You can just head there directly with Mr. Nan." There was a moment of silence on the other end. "Do you not have enough work to do? You are really meddling too much." A slight smile played on Zhao Qingwei's lips. She thought to herself, "It seems President Fu is actually very happy. I just did not expect her to value Mr. Nan so much. It seems I will have to be a bit more polite to him from now on." As for me, while I was still wondering if I should head back to the apartment first, I heard my phone ring. I saw it was my aunt calling. I wondered to myself, why is aunt calling me? Does she need something from me? Then I answered, Hello, aunt, is something the matter? Hearing my voice, Chen, my aunt spoke hesitantly. Are you free? Aunt, what's wrong? Just tell me. Then my aunt finally said, sigh, I am fine on my end. But it is Tianlei. He got into a fight at school. Neither I nor his father are in the city, so I will have to trouble you to go there. I understand. Don't worry, aunt. I will head to the hospital in a bit. Putting down the phone, I sighed and took a taxi straight to the nearby municipal hospital. When I saw young Tianlei on a corridor bench, he looked completely wretched. Passers-by gave him a cursory glance. After noticing their stares, he silently clenched his fists. Seeing this, I quickly stopped him. Young Tianlei, what are you doing again? Put your fists down right now. I stepped forward quickly, looking at him with a cold expression. As soon as young Tianlei saw me, he looked me up and down with disdain and said, why is it you? I did not call you to come here. She is meddling again. Is not she? Does she really think she is my mother? An outsider should stay out of our family affairs. After hearing that, I snapped at him with a dark face. Shut up. Let me tell you, young Tianlei. My aunt and your father fell in love freely. Watch your mouth. Young Tianlei sneered. Fell in love freely? That is the funniest joke I have ever heard. Would you even believe that yourself, man? It is fine to comfort yourself at home, but my mother already told me everything. Don't think I do not know anything. I let out a cold laugh, rolled up my sleeves and said nonchalantly, since your mother is so capable, why is not she here to solve this problem for you? Young Tianlei's expression changed instantly. He turned his head and stammered. She is busy and cannot get away. He spoke with growing insistence. In the end, as if trying to convince himself, right, he shouted at me loudly, she is just busy with something. My mom would never ignore me. Don't you dare try to drive a wedge between us. Hearing this, I ruthlessly shattered his delusions. Busy with what? I mocked him. Busy hanging out with her girlfriends. Young Tianlei, let me tell you, you'd better behave yourself. Otherwise, if we cannot reach an agreement, and things escalate, you'll be held accountable. I will not bail you out. Deal with it yourself. After I spoke, young Tianlei's eyes flickered, and he whispered, is it really that serious? Will I really be held responsible? I sighed and said, I have already looked into the situation. Young Tianlei, you just pushed someone down the stairs. Do you even have a brain? If you do not want it, why not donate it to someone who needs one? If his internal organs were damaged, or if his leg was injured and he could not play basketball, how would you possibly compensate him? Who told him to act so pretentious usually? Young Tianlei muttered under his breath. I did not think he'd actually fall. I glared at him, and said coldly, I see you will not learn your lesson until you hit rock bottom. Now, you are going to apologize sincerely. Perhaps intimidated by my previous scolding, he did not argue anymore. I dragged him along and knocked on the hospital room door. After being given permission to enter, I pushed the door open. Xia Anyao. She was actually an acquaintance. Jiang Jiang had taken me to their group gatherings a few times before. I saw her once at Xia Anyao's newly opened club. That was the first time we met. Although my nervousness subsided slightly, I was still a bit worried. This was the Xia family, after all. And this was not a small matter. Could it really be solved easily? I am truly speechless at young Tianlei, that troublemaker. How could he provoke the person he should least offend? Miss Xia. I then spoke tentatively. Xia Anyao was standing by the window, hearing the sound. When she turned and saw me, she looked somewhat surprised. Nan Chen. What is he doing here? What a rare guest. For Qinghuan's sake, I will ask. Seeing that Xia Anyao's attitude was relatively calm, I carefully chose my words. Miss Xia, this whole thing is our fault. It is all on us. Whatever compensation is needed, we will do our best to provide. Xia Anyao gave a light laugh, and shook her head. My uncle is the only child in his family. The whole family has pampered him like a treasure since childhood. Now he has to withdraw from the basketball tournament. Whether he can continue playing basketball at all is unclear. Under these circumstances, what could you possibly offer as compensation? No matter how stupid young Tianlei was, he could tell the woman before him was not to be trifled with. For once, he stayed silent. I remained silent as well, my mind racing at full speed. Xia Anyao glanced at me and young Tianlei, and asked curiously, what is the relationship between you two? Then, realizing the situation, I replied, consider him my younger brother. Is that so? But it seems your brother does not treat you like an older brother. You, get out first. I have some things to ask your brother. Xia Anyao spoke to young Tianlei in a distant tone. Young Tianlei immediately left without looking back, clearly dumping the entire mess on me. If it were not for my aunt, this kind of ungrateful brat, I would not want to deal with him for a single second. He runs faster than anyone when it counts. Now, only Xia Anyao and I remained. Xia Anyao sat on the sofa, and asked, the matter with Jiang Jiang has something to do with you, right? I did not expect her to not hold young Tianlei accountable first, but instead mentioned Jiang Jiang. Then I replied, I am somewhat involved. Why do you ask? Hearing this, Xia Anyao looked up and scanned me. But I have to say, the man before her, he is indeed handsome. My family does not need the compensation, but I can do you this favor. I will not make things hard for your brother. I was overjoyed. Is Miss Xia telling the truth? Thank you so much. Don't worry, we'll keep him in check from now on. Xia Anyao chuckled. Don't misunderstand. I am only doing this for Qinghuan's sake. I froze. So it was because of Fu Qinghuan. I wondered why Xia Anyao gave in so easily. Otherwise, given the Xia family's temperament, it would be impossible for my dear brother to finish high school. He might even end up with a criminal record. I looked at Xia Anyao, not knowing what to say. Don't worry. I am not losing out here. Also, my aunt is with the attending physician right now. Take your brother and leave while you can. Otherwise, I will not be able to intervene later. Miss Xia, I will remember this favor. Xia Anyao looked at me with a cryptic smile. After watching me leave, she sent a message to Fu Qinghuan. Qinghuan, as I stepped out of the ward, I saw him standing on the other side. Yang Tianlei, staring at his phone. Yang Tianlei looked up, and seeing my grim expression, he blew a bubble with his gum. Well, he asked nonchalantly. Can we go now? I stared at him and said, I shouldn't have bothered with your mess. With that, I ignored him, and walked ahead. After a moment of stunned silence, Yang Tianlei followed right after. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? You think I am a nuisance? Then you could have just left. Did I even ask for your help? I pressed the elevator button, giving him a mocking look from head to toe. You are quite bold now, shouting at me like this. You are only doing this because you are young, and will not be held accountable. Let me be honest with you. If my aunt had not called me, I would not have set foot in this place. Yang Tianlei knew I would not indulge him. He had hated me since the first time we met. Now, hearing my words, stabbing into him like knives, he felt even more irritated. He snapped back. You think you are so noble? The way that woman looked at you. Don't think I did not notice. Oh, what look was that? Yang Tianlei sneered. You are just like your aunt. Eye-catching, and annoying. I sneered. Can't be helped. Who's to blame for your lack of looks? Yang Tianlei's face turned pale with rage. The elevator arrived. I looked at Yang Tianlei, who refused to enter, and said, no matter how reluctant you are, the person who stepped up for you today is someone you look down upon. Then I closed the elevator doors. Only then did I relax. Leaning against the wall, I thought to myself, Yang Tianlei is out to get me, and my aunt is the only one caught in the middle. In this world, she is the only family I have left. If I could, I would not want to make things hard for her. With Yang Tianlei's personality, the more you indulge him, the worse he gets. By the time I reached the hospital entrance, I noticed people coming in were closing their umbrellas. At some point, a light rain had started to fall. Looking at the wet ground, I did not expect today to be this unlucky. Just as I was worrying about how long the rain would last, my phone rang. Upon answering, I heard Assistant Zhao's voice. Mr. Nan, has something delayed you? She looked back at Fu Qinghuan, who was already waiting in the dining area. What on earth is Nan Chen doing to keep President Fu waiting this long? Logically, he is not the type to be so clueless. Seeing the call, I finally remembered my lunch date with Fu Qinghuan, but I quickly recovered, and spoke to Assistant Zhao. I want to cook a meal for the VP. I am out buying ingredients right now. Also, something came up. I am handling it now. I will contact the VP personally in a bit. Don't worry. Zhao Qingwei breathed a sigh of relief and replied. Understood, Mr. Nan. Just do not forget your date with the VP. A few minutes ago, Fu Qinghuan had received a message from Xian Anyao, but she did not have much of a reaction. I am sorry. Something sudden happened at noon. I have to cancel on you. Can I cook for you tonight instead? What do you like to eat? I will make it for you. Fu Qinghuan's mood, which had been somewhat irritable, suddenly and inexplicably calmed down. After hearing this voice message, then, her red lips curled into a smile. Sure, anything you make is fine. I am not a picky eater. I looked at this message, and smiled to myself. I do not have many signature dishes. Luckily, Fu Qinghuan is not picky. Otherwise, I would probably have to seek outside help. Then I replied, I will give it a try. I will do my best to suit your taste, so you can enjoy your dinner. After a while, she replied. This time, it was also a voice message. I found a quieter spot to open it. More than dinner. I just want you by my side. I was speechless for a moment. Fu Qinghuan's words really caught me off guard. Luckily, she did not send any more messages, or it would have been really awkward. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, I saw two bodyguards in suits walking toward me from the corner. Instinctively, I wanted to turn back to the hospital and call the police. By then, the bodyguards had already stepped up to me. Mr. Nan, we are the bodyguards arranged for you by Assistant Zhao. I noticed you do not have an umbrella. Would you like us to drive you to your destination? I stood there, a bit stunned. Have you been following me this whole time? The bodyguards looked clearly embarrassed. We are private security employed by the Fu Corporation. Unless necessary, we will not appear before you. Although I was slightly annoyed, it is indeed a special time right now. Then I replied, I am going back to President Fu's residence. Just find a supermarket nearby and drop me off. Once in the car, I remembered to reply to my aunt. They've already let it go, but Yang Tianlei still needs to understand the consequences. I cannot keep cleaning up his messes. As for the compensation and such, once you return, auntie, it is best to bring Yang Tianlei along, to apologize and make his position clear. Just as I sent it, my aunt replied instantly. Understood. Achin, it has been a long time since you've had a meal at home. Have you been taking good care of yourself lately? Seeing my aunt's caring message, I felt a twinge of sadness in my heart. Then I replied, I am doing great, don't worry, Auntie. I will come home for a meal when I have time. Fu Qinghuan had a last-minute meeting tonight. By the time Zhao Qingwei contacted me, I was already buying groceries at the supermarket. Zhao Qingwei's call came just in time. President Fu has an urgent meeting. She asked me to contact you. That is fine. I will just wait for her. Usually, these kinds of drinking parties are not primarily about the food. After returning home, she would definitely feel a bit unwell. So it is perfect that I am making her something. Then I asked, Assistant Zhao, what are President Fu's taste preferences? Zhao Qingwei pondered for a moment. President Fu's mother is from Haicheng. That is all I can reveal. So I bought some pork ribs and fish, and then returned to Fu Qinghuan's villa. While changing shoes at the door, I noticed an extra pair of slippers. They were the same style as Fu Qinghuan's. I was a bit surprised. I thought someone else had come over. After looking around, I realized I was still alone. It is just that the guest room now had a full set of toiletries. It felt as if I were expected to stay here long term. My phone vibrated. I picked it up and saw a message from Fu Qinghuan. If you are bored, you can go to the audio-visual room on the first basement level. I will be coming back quite late tonight. No. Okay, no problem. I will wait for you to come back. Then I changed into loungewear, and headed to the kitchen to prep the dishes. I worked quickly. It took less than an hour to get everything ready. It was still early before Fu Qinghuan's return. So, out of boredom, I started wandering around the house. I thought there were only 2 floors, only to find the indoor elevator went down. A hidden sanctuary lay beneath. Too bad Fu Qinghuan is rarely home. I skipped right past the study, but then I noticed at the end of the hallway, there was actually a music room. I never would have guessed that Fu Qinghuan could actually play an instrument. After a moment of wonder, I headed to the home cinema. I picked an indie movie. After watching for a while, I started to drift off. Meanwhile, on the other side, Fu Qinghuan, amidst social obligations, stared at her phone, remaining silent. Those around her noticed her behavior. President Fu has been on her phone all night. Is there something urgent? Since Fu Qinghuan never had male companions, no one suspected a romantic interest. Not exactly urgent. I just picked up a big puppy last night. I wonder if he is bored at home. Everyone there was sharp. After a quick glance, they did not push for a second round elsewhere. By the time Fu Qinghuan returned home, it was already late at night. 4 or 5 dishes were laid out on the table. She took a quick glance. They happened to be exactly to her taste. I, in the cinema room, felt the intoxicating scent of orchids drifting toward me. When I opened my eyes, Miss Fu Qinghuan happened to be leaning over to wake me. You are back. The food must be cold by now. It probably does not taste good anymore. Seeing my casual and natural attitude, Fu Qinghuan gave a light chuckle and said, It is fine. I will just heat it up. I nodded. Then I said, I will make you some hangover soup. I could smell the alcohol on her immediately. Fu Qinghuan had not actually drunk much today, yet she asked in surprise. Impressive. Can you tell what kind of wine this is? I thought for a moment and replied, aged dry red. Suddenly, Fu Qinghuan leaned closer to me, so close we were almost skin to skin. I could feel her warm breath, and the faint fragrance of her hair. My whole body stiffened. A sudden heat rushed to my cheeks. Seeing my reaction, Fu Qinghuan smiled softly, and whispered in my ear, Then do you know where it was produced? I did not answer. I just changed the subject and said, Let us eat first. Miss Fu, you did not eat well tonight, did you? She asked curiously. What made you think of cooking these dishes? Miss, do you not like them? Of course I do. I would love anything you cook. Back in the living room, I suggested, Why do not you take a shower and relax first? You've had a long day at work. Fu Qinghuan nodded. While she went upstairs, I went to reheat the food. When Fu Qinghuan came back down after her shower, she found me with my back to her. I was busy reheating the meal. Fu Qinghuan walked up behind me. Noticing she was silent. What's wrong? Is something the matter? Fu Qinghuan looked up at me, then gently wrapped her arms around my waist from behind. Such an intimate gesture, as if we were a couple who had been in love for years. Chen, what else can you cook? A little bit of everything, but I am not an expert. It was all back in college. I picked it up while working part-time at a restaurant. Part-time work? Were you working the whole time you were in college? I nodded. Yeah. My family home was sold, but to buy a place in H-City, a good house in the city center, I have to work hard. After all, renovations and everything cost money. So I worked and studied simultaneously in college. I originally thought Fu Qinghuan would ask about my family background. Fortunately, she did not. She just suddenly let me go. I breathed a sigh of relief. Before long, Fu Qinghuan returned. She was holding a velvet gift box. I froze for a moment. Fu Qinghuan had already opened the box. Inside was a men's watch. She wanted to put it on me, but for some reason, after several tries, she still could not fasten it. I understood what she meant. Give it to me. I put it on casually. The movement was relaxed and natural. Fu Qinghuan seemed drawn to me. Then she seemed a little shy, and lowered her head. Sometimes, it really was strange. When he was doing things, Nan Chen did not treat himself like an outsider at all. He was incredibly bold, not afraid of me in the slightest. But now, just one casual little move from him, made me unable to even look at him. The food in the pot was already giving off its aroma. I hesitated before asking, should we eat in the dining room, or eat here? Fu Qinghuan actually wanted to stay in the kitchen a little longer. Let me taste it first. I made this from an online tutorial. I scooped up a spoonful of soup. It may not be authentic. Miss Fu, try it. Fu Qinghuan stared at me. She reached out and held the hand I used to hold the spoon. Then she praised, so authentic, so delicious. It was the first time I heard her speak in Haicheng dialect. Her accent was authentic, yet carried the uniqueness of her own voice. It was like a feather brushing past my ear, making me shiver. Fu Qinghuan really did not go to the dining room. She stood in the kitchen, and ate most of the dishes. It was obvious she liked them. I felt a little smug inside. As expected of me, I really am a little cooking genius. Then we returned to the room hand in hand. Before the door fully closed, all that could be seen was Fu Qinghuan looking at me with an ambiguous gaze. A long time later, Fu Qinghuan rested her head on my shoulder. Then she lifted her head again. I lowered my head and looked at her, my hand caressing her face. The woman instinctively slapped my hand away, then snapped awake instantly. Chen, I am sorry. I did not mean to. Actually, given our relationship, going back to our own rooms would be best. But Fu Qinghuan did not want to leave. I was genuinely tired too, so I let her be. I said helplessly, it was my fault. Why are you apologizing to me? At heart, I am not someone with much sense of security either. Although I look decisive and capable on the surface, in private, I also need to be cared for. I do not know whether Chen has said those words to anyone else, but they truly touched me. Perhaps the atmosphere tonight was too beautiful, and she had become even gentler. I rarely had the urge to open up, so I said to her, Miss, actually, I lied to you. What do you mean? Being with Jiang Jiang was not because she appeared in front of me, but because on my birthday, she was the first, and the only person, to send me wishes right at midnight. I actually had not celebrated my birthday in years. After I finished speaking, I did not hear her reply. Half joking, half teasing, I said, was that a ridiculous decision? I think it was ridiculous too. After saying that, I lowered my head. In the darkness, Fu Qinghuan looked at me, with a little tenderness and pity in her eyes. The next day, after washing up in the morning, Fu Qinghuan and I sat at the same table for breakfast. She had returned to her usual calm. In my usual tone, I said, I need to go home today. I will not come over tonight. Fu Qinghuan glanced at me. Then when will you come back? I thought for a moment and said, this is my phone number. You can contact me anytime. If I am not busy, I will come over. She nodded, showing that she understood. Then she gestured for me to eat the breakfast in front of me. I habitually picked up the vegetable salad. You eat this in the morning? Won't you get hungry? Miss Fu, don't worry. I am doing this for my health. I am used to it. Hearing this, Fu Qinghuan nodded hesitantly. After the meal, I intended to call a ride. She glanced at her watch, then picked up her keys and said, let us go. It is on my way. The standards of Wansheng Group's hotels would not be built in the middle of nowhere. They're in the same business district, so it really is on the way. Qinghuan, thanks for the ride. You've helped me out a lot. We did not talk much after getting in the car, until we were nearly at the hotel. Fu Qinghuan finally asked, have you considered changing jobs? Maybe come work at my company? I nodded. Of course I have, but not so strongly that I would switch immediately. I have worked so hard for this department head position. Based on my performance, I should have a chance. I do not want to give up just yet, and I have thought it through clearly. Society is just the law of the jungle. There's competition everywhere. If I switch companies over this, it will not change anything. I guess you do not want me to drop you at the door. Can I just leave you at the intersection ahead? Okay, I will get out here then. Stay safe on the road. It is a short walk. I can grab a coffee on the way. Qinghuan is so thoughtful. Early in the morning, the coffee shop was mostly full of colleagues and people from nearby companies. The crowd close to me locked eyes with me, and gave me awkward smiles. I found it a bit strange. Usually, I have nothing to do with them. Some of them were even passive-aggressive toward me. Why are they so polite today? Once I reached my workstation, Lin Su walked up to my desk, and asked curiously, why did you take leave yesterday? You did not even reply to my messages. I was dying to tell you something. I smiled and changed the subject. Here's your iced Americano. Lin Su took a sip and raised an eyebrow. No, seriously, where were you yesterday? I finally opened my message list. Lin Su had sent me 30 messages, because he always forwards boring, funny posts from official accounts. I basically have him muted. Just as I was about to explain, Lin Su suddenly grabbed my phone and slammed it on the table. Stop looking. It is faster if I just tell you. You've heard about Jiang Jiang, right? It is already trending. Of course I know. It is even related to me. Then I added, just that? I heard about it at home too. Lin Su looked around cautiously. Of course, it is more than that. Her father got into trouble too. He was called in to cooperate with the investigation, and the people promoted by her father were all called in as well. But that is not the point. The point is, even Manager Kai and Mi Yen were taken away. Everyone knows Manager Kai is connected to Jiang's father. That is common knowledge. But to think Mi Yen was involved too. As expected, while I was away from the office, a lot has really happened. You have no idea. When Mi Yen and Manager Kai were taken away, the looks on their faces were absolutely miserable. Oh, right. Don't even think about slipping away early tonight. We have to go celebrate. It finally clicked for me. If Mi Yen cannot clear her name, then the position of administrative director is practically guaranteed to be mine. No wonder the group close to her were so polite to me today. So that is how it is. Of course. Song Yi recommended a new place nearby. Let us eat there tonight. Song Yi was my childhood best friend, while Lin Su is a bond forged in battle at Wansheng. The three of us get along well, so we often hang out together. As a travel expert with a huge appetite, Song Ye's food vlog already has 1 million followers. Not only is the reputation reliable, but the recommendations are definitely delicious. However, obviously, my after-work drinks with Lin Su weren't going to happen. The scandal involving Jiang Jiang's father grew too intense, coupled with the endless stream of dirt on Jiang Jiang herself. It directly damaged the corporate image of Wansheng Group. Upper management launched an internal investigation. Naturally, they soon found out that I, who had a public relationship with Jiang Jiang, also worked at the company, and was in the administration department under Manager Kai. I was called in for questioning by the higher-ups. Though I hoped for the best, I had nothing to fear. But once I was called away, I bet the talk in the office would get nasty. Sure enough, the moment I left the office, colleagues started gossiping. Guess why Nan Chen did not come to work yesterday? Maybe he is planning to run away. Miss Jiang was with him for 3 months. He probably spent a fortune. Humph, I told you so. People like him never end up well. Lin Su has a short fuse. Hearing this, he slammed the table and stood up. What the hell are you all talking about? If you've got the guts, say it to Nan Chen's face. What's the point of talking behind his back? Those who just wanted to gossip naturally would not actually fight with Lin Su. Seeing the situation, they quickly sat back down and continued badmouthing me on their phones. Lin Su was furious and worried about me, so he vented his frustrations on his moments. The leaders in the office did not make things difficult. After hearing my explanation of the whole story, go back to your post, get back to work. They just gave a few simple instructions. Yes, thank you, sir. Walking out of the office, the pointing and whispering in the hallway instantly vanished. Everyone pretended to be buried in their work. The truth about Jiang Jiang and her father was confirmed. Manager Kai, Mi Yen, and the others involved naturally did not dare target me openly anymore. Returning to my desk, Lin Su immediately leaned in. How did it go? They did not give you a hard time, did they? I was about to burst. Those people were saying such awful things. It is fine, the truth speaks for itself. The leaders understand the situation. Lin Su breathed a sigh of relief. You probably do not know yet, because Manager Kai was too deeply involved with the Jiangs. He's been suspended from all his duties, and is undergoing an internal audit. And Mi Yen, who used Manager Kai as a shield to steal credit everywhere and suppress her colleagues. Many people have filed complaints. Now she is completely isolated in the department. She does not dare to flaunt her power anymore. Opportunism in the workplace and bullying others using power never lasts long in the end. This is the result of their own actions. Not long after, the company officially issued an internal notice. Manager Kai was demoted. Mi Yan's quarterly bonus is deducted. As for Jiang Jiang, her scandals continued to escalate. Coupled with her family troubles, she no longer had the energy to cause trouble for me at work. The weight on my heart finally lifted, and I could finally devote myself fully to my work. A week later, the company officially appointed me as the head of administration. The moment the news was announced, sincere applause echoed through the department. Colleagues who were once cold to me, now all wore friendly expressions. After work, now that you've been promoted and got a raise, you've got to treat us more often. Song Yi echoed with a laugh. Looking at my two best friends, I felt a deep sense of peace. Along the way, I was lucky to have their constant companionship and support. After the dinner, I took out my phone and called Fu Qinghuan. The call was answered quickly. Finished with work? Yeah. Just finished dinner with friends. I have been so busy dealing with trivial matters that I haven't had a chance to properly thank you. I really appreciate your help during this time. From the very beginning at the Imperial Club, where she stepped up to save me, to arranging a special assistant to handle the police matters, keeping a secret eye on the company's movements, and silently clearing many obstacles for me. Fu Qinghuan never bragged about it, but time and again, she lent a hand when I was in trouble. A light laugh came from the other end of the phone. Why thank me? I never helped you for the sake of a thank you. A brief pause. She asked softly, are you free tonight? I am downstairs at your office. My heart skipped a beat. I hurried downstairs. Under the streetlights, Fu Qinghuan's long hair draped casually over her shoulders. The sharpness and cold elegance of the business world had faded, replaced by a touch of gentle charm. Seeing me approach, a faint smile rippled in her eyes. Walking up to her, I stopped, looking at her seriously. Actually, I have thought about a lot lately. At first, I had too many concerns, feeling the gap in our status was too wide. I did not dare get close, wanting only to keep a simple friendship. But after spending time together, I realized that feelings are not about weighing pros and cons, nor are they about social standing. Fu Qinghuan gazed at me silently. I come from an ordinary background, struggling and fighting my way to where I am now. I am used to relying only on myself, and I did not dare depend on others. But after meeting you, my tense heart slowly relaxed. I love the way you are occasionally playful and teasing, and I love how you seem cold on the surface, but are actually soft and kind inside. I took a deep breath, summoning the courage to speak my heart. Fu Qinghuan, I do not want to be just ordinary friends anymore. In the days to come, I want to be by your side, and face everything together. Will you give me this chance? The evening breeze brushed past, stirring her hair. The smile in Fu Qinghuan's eyes deepened. She took a step forward, gently taking my hand. The warmth of her palm felt steady and real. I have been waiting for these words for a long time. I said before that I did not want material ties, fearing future complications. Now, I want to change my mind. Not because I covet what you have, but because I want to be with you as equals. I will work hard, live my life with purpose, and protect you in my own way. I never doubted you. I admire your independence, resilience, and sincerity. That is why I have been drawing closer to you step by step. No need to rush to catch up. We just need to walk side by side. The days that followed were simple and warm. I secured my position as the administrative manager, earning the respect of my bosses and colleagues. Lin Su remained my most compatible partner. In my spare time, I would cook meals for Fu Qinghuan. She would introduce me into her social circle. On weekends, we would take walks, watch movies, and browse the markets. No complicated high society obligations, only the simplest joys of ordinary people. One evening, I put my arm around her shoulder, looking at the gentle sunset on the horizon. My heart was filled with certainty, cherishing this simple stability, heading toward every sun-drenched tomorrow, with kindness in my heart, and my feet firmly on the ground. All the beauty arrived just as promised.